His first full season, however, as head coach of the Unicoi County Blue Devils is Drew Rice, young man yet to see his 30th birthday, a one-time big-time prospect. Back in 2007, we were talking about this, a tight end who was once recruited by Appalachian State during the year in which they beat Michigan. He went to Carson Newman instead, so there you go. But Drew Rice joins us here on Tri-City Sports Now. You're almost 24 hours away from kickoff in the 2017 season. Let me just ask you, what are your hopes? What are your goals this year for Unicoi County this season?
Yeah, we make an emphasis on going 1-0 every week. I know that sounds a little cliche or whatever, but it's such a long season. I think sometimes people get, caught up so much in, we play Johnson County, October 28th or, Happy Valley, September, whatever, but the most important one's the next one. So, to us, this first one's a huge game, at South Green. That's the one we got to take care of first. So, tomorrow night we'll find out where we are, but as far as long-term goals, our goal now, especially in the region that we're in, is to win the region. Last year we finished fourth in the league, and the three teams that beat us in the league last year are no longer in our region. So, that's how we're approaching it. And, like I said, there's a lot of football to be played between now and then, but that's our long-term goal. But our short-term goal is to go 1-0 this week.
Well, you're playing South Green, who is coming off their best record since 2010. Now they are 5-5 coming off last year. Let me ask you, frankly, let's hear. What do you think of South Green? Who do you have to stop to win this game?
Well, we've tried to do as much homework on them as we can. These first couple games are always tough because there's no film to trade. Once you get in the year, the kind of you trade 2 films every week, and that's just kind of the standard. But this first one, there's no film to trade, so you kind of got to do a little more leg work and kind of really do some homework and see what they've got. But we know they've got some guys on the outside who are long and athletic. I think they throw the ball pretty well, so that's been a focus of ours, this week and last week too, is to stop their passing game. We know they've got a couple big linemen inside that played last year against us, and I think they're a good football team. I definitely think they're one of the better teams on our schedule, and playing down there, that's always a tough place to play. 2 years ago, we went down to the wire and end up winning that game, but it was a war. So we're expecting the same tomorrow night.
Well, we're talking here to Drew Rice. He's the head coach in his first full season of the Unicoi County Blue Devils. Talk a little bit about the preparation now. This is your first. You were hired in the middle of the season last year after Glenn White resigned after a tough loss. Tell us a little bit about how your job has changed now that you have a season to prepare.
Well, the biggest difference has been having that off season, and that's something we put a huge emphasis on. We hired a full-time strength and conditioning coach to develop and implement both a strength program and a speed program that we've been working on since January. So our kids have really bought in, and we've been working 5 days a week since January. Now, not all these kids have. Obviously, we didn't pick up our freshmen until school let out, and, basketball guys and baseball guys, they got with us once their seasons ended. But, a large chunk of this team's been working since January, getting ready for this season.
Brett Strother moves from wide receiver to quarterback. You spoke of South Green's passing game. You told me your base offense is going to start in a shotgun, which is somewhat revolutionary for football around here. Tell me a little bit, though. Is he going to be more of a running quarterback as a former wide receiver, or more of a drop-back passer that you might expect when you're going from the shotgun as a base offense?
Sure. He's definitely a dual threat guy. That's why he's there. We feel like he's either our best player or certainly one of our best players. And, we feel like for him to have the ball in his hands every play, we kind of like that matchup. So he's a threat every time he touches it. And, he's really worked on his throwing. And we think we've got some guys for him to get the ball to that can be, a passing threat, obviously, to go with our run game.
Then, Coach Drew Rice, tell me why you like the shotgun with a running quarterback, Brett Struthers, because what I see is a guy, he's going to start 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and I would think traditionally more of a running quarterback would be someone that took the ball straight from center, where you could do an end around or a bootleg, or certainly when you do drop back to pass, be it on third down from a shotgun or whatever, then maybe you had the scramble out there. Tell me why you like the shotgun when you have a running quarterback.
Well, it spreads the field out. It keeps, in our base formation, if we've got, 4 receivers out there, that should, against most defenses, just have 6 guys in the box to block. So, we're always reading one, and then that gives us 5 on 5. We're not at 7 yards on his depth. I mean, he's about 4 yards, as far as his depth in the backfield. So, but, I mean, it gets people out of there, and we're not in that all the time, but we like the matchups we get when we spread the field out.
Well, one thing I notice about your offensive line, and again, just modern-day high school football, but you've got 3 linemen, Ike Edwards, Gabe Miller, as well as, and help me out with the third name I may need you, Hunter Rice. That's it, Hunter Rice. And they're all 300 pounds or more listed. And I think I will be playing, as a matter of fact, some of their voicers coming back from breaks here against South Green, as a matter of fact, so you get a chance to know these linemen that way. But how does that, I mean, obviously I'd think a 300-pound offensive lineman would be great for pass protection, but how does that work when you do need, Struther to take off and run?
Well, I mean, when they get their hands on people, they're a handful, so... whether we're pass protecting or running it, it really doesn't matter. You still got to block people. So those guys have really had good off seasons and have gotten a lot stronger. And we've worked on their flexibility and their speed and their footwork, and they've really they really have good off seasons. And that's about as big of a kid as we have here. And to have 3 of them at one time that big, it's definitely something that we're excited about.
Well, tell me, you mentioned that you're going for the first regional title since 1991. I want to say, I'm trying to remember here, that was 5 years before I called the games in '96, which was Unicoi County's last winning season at 6-4. Where I'm going with this, though, I want to ask, who do you think are the top contenders in your region for the crown, for first place?
Sure. Most of the papers and magazines around here have picked Johnson County to win the league. I think they've got 17 or 18 seniors, and I think it's a group that they're really, they've said for some years now that this was kind of their group. So now that all those kids are seniors, I think that has a lot to do with it. And they've got a good football team and they got a good quarterback. But there again, we don't play them until the end of October, so we've got to worry about ourselves between now and then. But we definitely think Johnson County is probably going to be right there in it. And then also, West Green may very well have the best player in the league, in the Lane kid that's down there that does a little bit of everything for him, and he's a special athlete for sure. So I think just because of him, Coach Case does a good job down there. But because of that kid and what he's capable of, I think West Green's really going to be a tough draw for people in our league.
So the final 2 games of the year, West Green at home on October 13th, and then after a bye week right before Halloween during the World Series, October 27th at Johnson County. The key games of the season this year for Unicoi County. And we've been talking a little bit on Tri-City Sports now about the talented quarterback at Johnson County, Nathan Arnold, who I believe was second in passing only to Kendrick Williams last year of Unicoi County in the area last year, as a matter of fact. And Williams now a student at ETSU, not playing college football, surprisingly, in my opinion here. One thing I want to ask you, though, is I look at the schedule. Was that by design to have the week off before Johnson County?
Well, in a way it was. The way the scheduling works, you play your region games on the odd weeks. So those are kind of set, and then our league obviously, now it's 11 weeks in the TSSAA calendar, you get by. So it was either going to be like week 2 or week 10. So we looked at it and and then thought that's probably about as good a time as any. Realistically, you probably want it right in the middle, but if it comes down to if it comes down between us and Johnson County that last week, that bye is going to be at a good time. So, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, of course, but that's our goal. So, if that plays out that way, then it kind of worked out.
All right, now final question for Drew Rice. I got to ask. I'm looking down your roster here, and I see a player. I can't believe this man's name, Jefferson Irwin, playing at Gentry Field in Unicoi County. What's next? Is there actually going to be a Cleveland Brown playing in the NFL in Northeast Ohio? What's the deal with Jefferson Irwin?
Jefferson's he's a freshman. He's a big freshman, so we're excited about him, and I guess that's just a coincidence, as I know. But he's going to be a good football player for us down the road.
He's Drew Rice. It's his first full year as a head football coach. He's picking Johnson County and West Green to be the, in his 3A conference, the top competitors in his league.